So today I'm going to be doing a book review, and the book that I am going to be reviewing is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin, and this is an adult fantasy book. It's the start of a trilogy, and I'll just read you the back real quick. It says, "This is the way the world ends for the last time. It starts with the Great Red Rift, across the heart of the world's sole continent, spewing ash that blots out the sun. It starts with death, with the murdered son and a missing daughter. It starts with betrayal and long dormant wounds rising up to fester. This is the stillness, a land familiar with catastrophe, where the power of the earth is wielded as a weapon and where there is no mercy." So for this one, it sounded super interesting, and there's a lot of great reviews for this book. So I immediately kind of had really high expectations, and I thought I was going to love it, and it was going to be a 5-star read for me. Unfortunately, it was only a 3.5-star read for me. I did enjoy it, but I didn't love it as much as I hoped I would. And there are some parts that I didn't like about it, so that's what I'm going to get into in this review. Esun is a young mother who, at the start of this, comes home and sees that her husband has killed their son and kidnapped their daughter. And so she goes to try to find their daughter. Cyanide is what they call an origin, I believe is how you say it. She's an origin, and basically origins in this world can control the earth. They have power within them that can control earthquakes and shifts and changes in the earth. And she is sent on a mission with another origin named Alabaster to this other city. Demaya is a little girl who, at the start of this, just discovers she is an origin, and her family is afraid of her. So in this world, origins are kind of feared for their powers and abilities. And so Demaya's parents are afraid of her, and they call someone from the Fulcrum, which is a school where they train origins to be able to use their powers. And so they send someone who is a guardian to get Demaya and bring her back to the school to learn how to use her powers. So those are the 3 perspectives that we're reading from. This story is a lot about oppression and hurt and pain, betrayal, and basically how those things shape a character. I will say the beginning was kind of confusing because it just drops you right into this world, and there's a lot that you have to learn. It takes a while to get used to this world and how it works and the terminology used, and so it was a little bit confusing in the beginning, but after a while you get the hang of it and it's okay. And then towards the end, when there's some twists revealed towards the end that again made it a little bit confusing, at least for me at first. I was like, wait, this doesn't make sense, I'm confused again. But then you quickly figure out what's going on. So there's that. The other thing I didn't like was Esun's chapters. Her point of view is written in second person, and that was just really annoying to me. It really took me out of the story, because I kept saying, you did this, you said this, you did that, and I couldn't stand that, and so I really didn't like her chapters. I will say with Esun, her character, I had sympathized with her in the beginning because she's a mom who just found her son murdered and her daughter's been kidnapped, and so I sympathized with her in the beginning. But then towards the end, she does something which I'm not going to get into any spoilers here, but she does something at the end that made it really hard for me to sympathize with her any longer. And I'm like, I understand why she did what she did, but I don't agree with it. I think she could have done things differently, and I had a hard time sympathizing with her after that. Probably my favorite character to read from was Cyanide. I liked her chapters the most, and that's the other thing when you have multiple perspectives that you're reading from in a book. Typically, I don't like this that much because there's always, one character that I love reading about more, and then the others I'm kind of like, okay, I have to read your chapter, fine. But and Cyanide for me, that was her chapters. Um, just seeing like her on this mission and like what happens again. I don't want to get into any spoilers, but just kind of seeing what takes place. But her chapters, those were the ones I was always the most interested in reading. And then I was kind of interested in Demaya's chapters in the beginning a little bit, but after a while I kind of lost interest in Demaya's chapters. I don't know what happened, but yeah, I just kind of lost interest with hers after a while. But I will say this, there's some chapters in here. The middle part of this book, some parts are pretty slow, and there's some boring chapters. To me, they're boring. And maybe that's just because I was mainly interested in Cyanide's story and not so much with the other two. And so maybe that had to do with it, but some parts were just boring to me and felt slow in the middle. But it does start to pick up again a little bit towards the end. And the twist in here was pretty interesting. So I definitely want to continue with the rest of the series, especially because it leaves off on a cliffhanger. The end of this leaves off on a cliffhanger, and anytime a book leaves off on a cliffhanger, I always feel compelled to pick up the next one and read it, because I'm like, I need closure. I can't leave it like this. I need to wrap it up, and I need closure. So most of the time when books end on a cliffhanger, there's a good chance, unless I really hated the book, but which I didn't with this, but unless I hate the book, there's a good chance I'm going to want to pick up the next one. And I'm hoping that the next book is better, but I'm going to try to go in with lower expectations. Because I've heard that the second book is even better than this. And, I find like some series I've read, I've noticed my favorite is the second book. And so I'm hoping I like the second one a lot more. But again, I kind of had high expectations of this one based on reviews and stuff, and was a little bit disappointed with it. So hoping I'm not quite as disappointed with the second one. Overall, even though I didn't absolutely love this, I do think this was a decent start to a new trilogy. And so I did like it enough that like I said, I want to continue. And I think it's a pretty decent start for the first book in the series. There's a lot of world building in here, so that might be something else that might have contributed to me not liking it as much. I don't know, because there's a lot to learn about this world, and you, like I said in the beginning, you're kind of just thrown into this world and not told very much. The story just starts off like that. And so you're kind of learning a lot about this world as you go through. So that's it for my review of the fifth season. Let me know in the comments below if you've read this, what your thoughts were on it. I know a lot of people absolutely loved this book, and so if you loved it, that's great. I'm glad. But let me know what some of your thoughts were on this down below, and I will see you guys soon with another video. Bye.